The wall in the House or the Senate. He is not going to get the wall in any form.
He is not going to get the wall. Notice the pronoun Schumer used. He, Donald Trump, cannot have his wall, says the Senate Minority Leader. But what about the rest of us, the other 325 million people who live here? Turns out we can't have a wall either. A wall is just too expensive. In fact, it's wasteful, says, and brace yourself now for an icy blast of comedy here, the Democratic Party.
I asked the people at Customs and Border Protection, what would it cost to have scanners to scan all the vehicles coming in? They said $300 million. That's a far cry from $5 billion and a much more effective way to have a secure border.
Most of us, speaking for myself, consider the wall immoral, ineffective, inexpensive.
To spend billions of dollars on an immoral, ineffective, and expensive wall.
Don't waste billions of dollars of taxpayer money in order to build something that will not make our border more secure.
Border security is enormously important, but I think building a wall is a very costly and inefficient way to do that.
Oh, so Mr. Math Guy Bernie Sanders says a border wall is, quote, very costly. Okay, how costly is it precisely? Get your calculator out. Here are the numbers. The estimated cost of a border wall is about $25 billion. It's estimated, so let's say it's twice that. That would still be a tiny fraction of the price of the pointless stalemate we're now waging in Afghanistan. That costs about $45 billion every year, not even including, of course, the vast human cost. Now compare that to the $25 billion needed to restore our national sovereignty with the wall. And yet, and this is strange, nobody in Washington seems to be upset about the price of the Afghanistan debacle. A lot of people here are getting rich from it, and maybe that's the difference. You also hear endlessly, and usually from people who live in gated communities, that walls just don't work. But if that's true, if they really don't work, then why has Congress been happy to help pay for border barriers in Jordan, Tunisia, and Israel? Nancy Pelosi says that walls are immoral. And yet, for some reason, she's not flying to Jerusalem to lecture the Israelis on how they're wasting U.S. aid building walls that don't work. The Israelis know how effective walls are. That's why they have them. Israel's wall on the Egyptian border almost completely halted illegal immigration from that country. In fact, by some measures, completely, not one person came over it once they made it taller. Turns out there is a limit to the height of ladders. The truth, as you know, and as usual, is precisely the opposite of what they're telling you. The left fears a border wall precisely because it would work and could keep working long after President Trump leaves office. And that is why, when pressed, invariably they fall back on their signature argument. Racism! Border walls are racist!
The president went to the heart of what I call his brown menace theory. These migrants, they're dirty people. They bring disease.
This border wall thing is about controlling the browning of America.
Donald Trump is fixated on the southern border, as he was the day that he announced this campaign. It is not about securing the borders. It is about xenophobic, racist, bigoted beliefs.
He believes, and unfortunately maybe the facts will bear this out, his base is scared of anyone who is not visibly white.
His base is scared. They always say that. They're scared, right? They cling to things for comfort. It's just projection. Look around. Who's angry? Who's yelling? Who's hysterical? The left. Permanent Washington and their servants in the media. They're the ones who are terrified. They don't want an honest debate about immigration or a lot of other mindless policies they've been benefiting from for many years. They hate Trump for forcing a debate on any of this. They hate you for agreeing with him. Tough. We're going to talk about it anyway. Richard Goodstein is an attorney and former advisor to Bill Hillary Clinton, and he joins